IELTS Speaking Part 1, Lost and Found. Question 1. What will you do if you find something lost by others? Model answer. Band 6 answer. If I find something lost by someone, I will pick it up and give it to the staff or teacher if I'm at school. I think it's the right thing to do. Band 7 answer. If I find something that someone lost, I'll try to return it right away. For example, I'd give it to the front desk or check if there's any name on it. I feel bad if someone loses something important, so I want to help. Band 8 answer. If I come across something that seems lost, I always try to return it to the owner. I would check if there's any contact information or bring it to the lost and found section nearby. I once found a wallet at a train station and gave it to a staff member right away. I believe it's important to be honest and helpful in situations like that. Question 2. Do you report to the police when finding something lost by others? Why? Model answer. Band 6 answer. If I find something expensive, like a phone or wallet, I will go to the police. I think it's safe that way. Band 7 answer. Yes, I would report to the police if the item is valuable, like a phone or ID card. They have the system to find the owner. I think it's safer than just keeping it or asking people nearby. Band 8 answer. Yes, especially if it's something important like a smartphone, passport, or cash. I believe the police are the best people to handle such items. They can track down the owner properly, and it avoids any misunderstanding. Also, in my country, people often feel more secure when the police are involved in returning lost things. Question 3. Have you ever lost things? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I lost my umbrella before. I forgot it in a shop. I was a little sad but didn't go back for it. Band 7 answer. Yes, I've lost a few things, like my umbrella and once my earphones. I usually leave them in restaurants or on the bus. Sometimes I go back to check, but I don't always find them. Band 8 answer. Yes, I've definitely lost things before. One time, I left my umbrella on a bus. I realized it too late, and I felt quite frustrated because it was a special gift. Since then, I've become more careful with my belongings, and I always double-check my seat before leaving. Question 4. Will you post on social media if you lose your item? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Maybe yes. If it's very important, like a wallet, I will post to ask friends. It might help. Band 7 answer. Yes, if I lose something valuable, I will post about it on social media, especially in local groups. People may help share it or give useful information. Band 8 answer. Yes, I would definitely use social media if I lost something, especially in a public place. For example, I'd post in a local Facebook group or neighborhood chat. I've seen people recover their lost items this way, so I think it's a useful and fast way to reach a lot of people at once. IELTS Speaking Part 2. Something difficult to use. Describe something you bought that was difficult to use at first. You should say what it was, why you bought it, how you use it, and explain why it was difficult to use at first. You have 1 minute to prepare. You have 2 minutes to talk. Model answer. Band 6 answer. One thing I bought that was hard to use at first was a coffee machine. I bought it online because I love drinking coffee, and I thought it would help me save money instead of going to cafes every day. When the machine arrived, I was happy, but then I found out it was more difficult than I thought. It had many buttons and parts. I didn't know how much water or coffee powder to put in, and the manual was only in English, which was hard for me to understand. The first few times I used it, the coffee was either too bitter or too weak. Once I even forgot to put the cup under the machine, and the coffee spilled everywhere. After some time, I searched for videos on YouTube and watched them step by step. I followed the instructions carefully, and after a few tries, I finally learned how to make a good cup of coffee. Now I use it every morning. It's easy for me now, but at the beginning, I was really confused and felt a little disappointed. Band 7 answer. One item I bought that was quite difficult to use at first was a coffee machine I ordered online. I bought it because I had just moved into a new apartment, and I thought it would be cheaper and more convenient to make coffee at home. The machine looked modern and had many features, like different buttons for espresso, cappuccino, and milk foam. However, when I tried to use it the first time, I didn't understand what each button did. The instruction manual was confusing, and it didn't explain things clearly. I ended up putting too much coffee powder and not enough water, and the machine made a loud noise but no coffee came out. I was a bit scared I might break it. I also didn't know how to clean the machine properly, so I avoided using it for a few days. Eventually, I looked up tutorials on YouTube, watched how baristas use similar machines, and started practicing every morning. After about a week, I became more confident using it. Now, I can make a great cup of coffee at home, and I'm glad I didn't give up. It was frustrating at first, but now I feel more skilled and even enjoy the process. Band 8 answer. Something I bought that turned out to be surprisingly difficult to use was a semi-automatic espresso machine. I purchased it about a year ago because I was tired of spending so much money on coffee every morning, and I thought it would be fun and practical to learn how to make my own drinks at home. The machine looked very stylish and professional, but I underestimated how complicated it would be. It had so many functions, grind settings, water pressure control, a steam wand for milk frothing, and everything had to be adjusted just right. The instruction manual was written for people who already knew coffee terms, so I couldn't really follow it well. I remember the first time I used it, I ground the coffee too fine, and it clogged the filter. The espresso didn't come out, and the machine started vibrating weirdly. I panicked and unplugged it. I also didn't know how to use the steam wand, so I ended up burning the milk. I honestly thought I had wasted my money. But I decided not to give up. I watched tutorial videos, took notes, and practiced every morning before work. After a couple of weeks, I finally started to get the hang of it. Now, making coffee has become a part of my daily routine, and I even enjoy experimenting with latte art. Looking back, the learning curve was steep, but the result was worth it. IELTS Speaking Part 3. Something difficult to use. Question 1. Do you often buy new things? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I often buy new things, especially clothes or small items like phone cases and stationery. I sometimes go shopping when I'm bored or just want something new. I don't always need the things I buy, but it feels good to have something fresh. I also like buying gifts for my friends. I don't think too much before buying, so I spend more money than I want sometimes. Band 7 answer. Yes, I do buy new things regularly, especially when there are sales or when I feel like rewarding myself. I usually buy clothes, skincare products, or sometimes gadgets like earphones or chargers. I try not to buy things I don't need, but sometimes I still do, especially when I see them online. One time I bought a fancy blender that I barely use. So now, I try to ask myself if the item is really useful or just something I want for a short time. I think it's easy to buy too much nowadays because shopping is so convenient. Band 8 answer. Yes, I do tend to buy new things fairly often, although I've been trying to be more intentional with my purchases. In the past, I used to buy clothes or electronic gadgets just because they looked trendy or were advertised heavily online. For example, I once bought a smart fitness band after seeing a lot of YouTubers promote it. In the end, I used it for about a month and then forgot about it. That experience made me realize I need to focus more on long-term value rather than short-term excitement. These days, I usually think more carefully before buying something, but the temptation is still there, especially with one-click shopping on apps. Question 2. Would you say that advertising makes people buy more new things than they would if there was no advertising? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I think advertising really makes people buy more things. When I watch TV or scroll social media, I often see ads that look really good, and they make me want to buy. If there were no ads, I wouldn't think about buying so many things. Ads can make people feel like they need something even if they don't really need it. Band 7 answer. Yes, I would say advertising has a big influence on people's shopping habits. For example, social media ads are very powerful. They often show influencers using a product and saying how great it is, and that makes people curious. I remember seeing an ad for a portable blender on Instagram, and even though I didn't need one, I bought it. I think without ads, people would still buy things, but not as much or as quickly. Band 8 answer. Definitely, advertising significantly increases how much people buy, especially when it creates a sense of urgency or social pressure. Modern advertising isn't just about showing a product anymore, it's about building a lifestyle that people want to be part of. For instance, limited time offers or influencer marketing can make people feel that if they don't buy now, they'll miss out. I once bought a viral phone stand that I saw in multiple TikTok videos, but I didn't actually need it, it just looked convenient. Without that kind of targeted advertising, I probably wouldn't have even known it existed. So yes, ads clearly impact people's choices. Question 3. Do you think older people have difficulties using some things that young people do not? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I think older people don't use phones and computers very well. My grandma still uses a very old phone and doesn't know how to use apps. She often asks me for help when she wants to send a message. Young people learn these things faster because they use them every day. Band 7 answer. Yes, I think older people face more challenges with technology. My parents, for example, still find it difficult to use online banking or video calling apps. They didn't grow up with smartphones or computers, so it takes more time for them to learn. In contrast, younger people start using devices from a young age, so it becomes natural for them. I think it's important to be patient with older people and help them feel more confident. Band 8 answer. Absolutely. Many older people struggle with modern technology because they didn't grow up using it. For example, my grandfather still finds it difficult to adjust the settings on his smartphone or even download apps. He once accidentally changed the language to French and didn't know how to switch it back. In contrast, younger people are digital natives and adapt quickly to new technology. This gap can lead to frustration and even isolation for older adults if they feel left behind. I think it's important to provide tech education specifically for seniors so they can enjoy the benefits of digital tools without feeling overwhelmed. Question 4. Do you think people today care too much about having the newest version of things? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, many people want to buy new phones and things even if their old one is still good. I think it's not necessary. People just want to follow trends and look cool. Band 7 answer. Yes, I think people these days pay too much attention to having the latest items, like the newest phone or laptop. It becomes like a competition. Even if their current device works fine, they want to upgrade. I think this can lead to waste and unnecessary spending. Band 8 answer. Yes, in my opinion, there's too much focus on always upgrading to the latest version of products, especially when it comes to electronics and fashion. I've seen people buy the newest iPhone every year, even though their current one works perfectly. I think it's driven by marketing and social pressure. No one wants to feel left behind. However, this behavior isn't sustainable in the long run and contributes to environmental problems like electronic waste. I believe we should shift our mindset from new is better to use what still works.
Congrats on making it to the end of this video, and kudos to you if you did all that practice. You are amazing. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And you can also add my official LINE account that's in the profile. And if you do this, then I can send you a free phrases guide that you can use for your practice. All right, happy studying. See ya.